Thanks for all the love on the Instagram and YouTube. I would say Facebook, but there's not much love over there. I think everyone just quit Facebook, and that's fine. So the YouTube has always, been the hub of the wheel, if you know what I mean. And so I've been gone for a little while. Lots of reasons for that. Don't really want to get into it on this video. Just wanted to say hi, thank you. I'm doing very well. I've had some ups and downs, but that's just because that's the nature of the process that I'm in right now. Um, since day one, it's always been about growth, and it still is that. And I'm even more committed and more disciplined and more focused on what that means for myself, you know. And so right now, I mean, basically, I kind of wanted to make this video right here. This is where I spend a vast majority of my time, right here in this meditation chair. And the meditation has been the most profound change in my life, meaning that I've been meditating for 20 years for 5 or 10 or 20 minutes here and there. It wasn't until last year, after the 40-day water fast, when I had an amazing experience over there on the floor. I'm not even going to try to explain that to you because it's so otherworldly that it's just not within the scope of most. Anyways, some of you have had high experiences, some of you, maybe not. But anyways, the inexplicable happened to me over there at 3:30 in the morning on day 37 of the water fast, which was about a year ago. And I knew at that time that it was most definitely time to start. I mean, it was just like a poof, okay, it's time to get serious about meditation. And then dropped into my hands this amazing book called Concentration and Meditation by Swami Sivananda, which is one of the most profound books that I've ever read, because it really explains what meditation is and how to do it. And I'm really just sitting here, and even after 1 hour of meditation every day at 5 a.m., I mean, I'm still just learning. If you really want to have good meditation, what I've learned is that it's important to have a strict and well-regulated life, which is definitely more of a sattvic quality. It's not so much of a rajasic quality or a tamasic for sure, in the sense that, sattvic has to be just peaceful, centered. You have to let go of a lot of things. And that's basically what I've been doing, is just surrendering everything to what I call God, I've mentioned that before in my videos, and it's one thing to talk about it, and then it's another thing to really, really feel the expansive yearning in your heart for true liberation. And I've talked to a lot of different people, and everyone kind of has their own interpretation of that, and I've read and studied with. I mean, I was a Jehovah's Witness. My mom's a born-again Christian. My first spiritual experience was when I was 4 years old on a bus with Ernie and Bert, talking about the light of Jesus. And I know I've told the story before, but it's the most profound story of my whole life, now that I look back. And it explains a lot and helps me put a lot of things into context. But Ernie and Bert were talking about the light of Jesus, and I just walked right up to those puppets, and I was like, 4-year-old kid on this preschool, in front of my preschool, on this bus, and they were talking about the light of Jesus, and I was like, I want that. And then Ernie and Bert, I remember like it was yesterday. This is my first conscious memory of life, asking Jesus into my heart. So I said, I want that right now. And the puppets were like, you'll have to wait till the end of the show, to and then we'll pray for you, son. And I was just like, just right at Ernie and Bert. I said, I want that right now. And the Ernie and Bert puppeteers back there, they were just like, I don't think they'd ever had no 4-year-old kid come up and say, I want that right now. I don't want to wait 5 or 10 or 20 minutes till the end of this puppet show. I need Jesus right now. And I know that I've been here before. If when you have that kind of experience, you know, I mean, I don't try to go too much into my religious beliefs and stuff like that. Here's this doggone thing. Okay, so you know, I do have my religious beliefs, but well, it's not religion. See, religion is when you get together and you talk about God in groups with other people. Spirituality is when you're by yourself with God and no one else sees. You see, and you're just thinking about God itself and how you can get purified. You're not trying to go around. Religion is you trying to convince other people to get more people on the team so you can justify your beliefs. But spirituality is between what you see as you and God. It's really, in my opinion or experience, it's just the God inside of you working on expressing the totality of itself instead of the fractionated duality that we experience as human beings. So, over the course of the last, let's get a coaster out. These are the coasters that Ania makes. Wow, and that just supercharges it. So anyways, I've made hundreds and hundreds of videos, and they were along this line. But I mean, basically, I've really evolved in the last year since the daily meditation, you know, just really doing well. And then sometimes I'll get an evening session in as well. And I'm really working on making that a part of my program. You know, an hour in the morning and an hour in the evening. And then eventually I'm going to work my way up to where my whole life is going to be meditation, because it is the single greatest thing that I can do for my brain, because that's been my kind of my weakness, sort of. My brain and nervous system, I mean, that's really part of the story that I'll tell one day. Tavis is always trying to convince me to tell the whole story. It'd probably take like 2 or 3 hours, but it would be kind of a cool video for the hardcore fans to truly understand why I've done what I've done and do what I do and continue to do what I do with this process of regeneration. Because as you go deeper and deeper, it's not just about spiritual purification, but you're still working on regenerating the deep recesses of the body. Because when you're born into this world, and like, you know, the not only the kind of the genetic weaknesses just due to the separation from nature and the chemicals and the Twinkies and the coffee and the alcohol and the cigarettes and the drugs that your grandparents and your parents were doing during the beginning, or, you know, during the Industrial Revolution, and each progressive generation is getting sicker and weaker. Cesarean sections and antibiotics and vaccines and, you know, processed food and cooked to death and separated from the soil, drywall, plastic, concrete, you know, everything that's not dirt and leaves and sun and wind and birds and mud and rain and air and nature. Dirty, natural connection to the soil of the earth. You know, that's where I see mankind stemming their problems with their body, because this is the manifestation of the soil. So the further we get disconnected from Mother Earth and the dirty earth, and our bare feet connected to the soil, and our skin in the sun, and our nose in the fresh air, then I think that the more the body suffers, you know. And, you know, and then the spirit suffers because the mind is so enamored of the data that's been pumped into there from childhood, indoctrination, from public education, religion. I mean, it's like the blind leading the blind. And then finally, that's why I like to go straight to the source of the laymen who've had the experiences that I want to have, you know, higher experiences. So I like to read individuals' work, particularly interested in the work of the ancient yogis, Vivekananda, Sivananda, Yogananda. And, you know, I know that I have a huge Christian base, you know, and so it's just very hard for people to reconcile, but there's only one light. There's only one God. There's only one truth. There's only one love. And so what happens is, like I said, we get enamored of the conditioning that we have. And so it's kind of like, what happens is you get into this frame of reference where it's like, you think that only white people who are Christians can get into heaven. And that's literally what people actually, that's where their perception becomes. Like a Chinese person doesn't get to go to heaven or have enlightenment or nirvana. You see, what is enlightenment or the kingdom of heaven or nirvana or self-realization or transcendence or illumination or unity or cosmic consciousness? Are those different things, or are they just different words to describe the indescribable, which is in essence the same thing? Because it is definitely ineffable, undescribable, and you can get a sense of that even in your meditations as a very, you know, as a very much of a beginner, you know, on this path. And really, even if it does become more and more advanced, the understandings, this one still wants to choose to be at the beginner's mind and to see the infinite potential as far as the live foods, because that still continues to improve. My discipline around it, my understanding of it, it's like I like just plain, simple monomeals. Boom. And juices, you know, and I prefer fruit. It's the best food for meditation and lightness. You know, and then the juices, I just stay hydrated as heck. You know, I love hydration and the juices. And I know that I'm very thin, but most of the time, usually yogis are not really that interested in being huge. You know, there's no real reason to be big and giant. And so it's nice. I just have this nice, very efficient. I do yoga every day at this awesome yoga studio where there's this lady who's just a brilliant yoga teacher. It's very hardcore yoga. It's like American yoga, basically. And I just go to the yoga classes for fun, for fitness, for community. But real yoga to me is union with the divine, which is what that means, you know? And so it's hard, I know, for people to reconcile. And this is one of the reasons why I haven't made that many videos or been resistant. But now I just have to say I don't care anymore. I can't, you know, because, you know, and very few people actually can resonate with, you know, being a yogi for Christ, you know. But that's just what it is here. That's just what's happening, and that's just what's happened. And what I love about the yogis, the realized masters of India, is that this was a 10,000-year-old science. This isn't like an experiment, you know? This is a science that you follow and you see the results. And the more that you follow the results of the diet, of the meditation, of the japa, of the kirtan that you sing and you open up your heart. Just recently I've become more involved in the bhakti yoga, or the yoga of the heart. And that's where it's all going. It's all going. It always was love. So Dan McDonald was smart enough to be more like a jnana yoga, which is the yoga of knowledge, to where you are so aware and you've done so much discrimination and observation that you've actually realized that the way is of the heart. So it's cool to have a really good brain, although mine was frizzle fried from the vaccines. That's part of the long story, and what I've had to do and what I've been doing over the last couple of years specifically, this very challenging work. And that's why sometimes I'm in a decent place right now, but I've been taking these tonics that would pretty much probably kill anyone else, And the guy who makes them for me says, well, most people take one capsule, And I take the whole 16 ounces a day. And you're supposed to most people, just to get rid of the aluminum and the fluoride and the mercury, would just take 1 or 2 capsules and work their way up to maybe a 1 ounce shot glass. And I just knock back the whole thing. And I've been working with him. He knows me that I've been on live foods for almost 20 years now almost. And I've done 4-day water fast, 21-day water fast, dry fasting, juice fast. So and plus my system is just boom. I've done the microbiome reset program for like the last year now. I'm going to try to figure out how to explain that to people. I try to talk to my clients on the phone, and God, it's like, that's another reason why I haven't been making videos. I mean, the world is a god dang mess. We have ruined the earth. And, I don't know. It's like, I don't really feel guilty, but I feel blessed beyond average. And I'm trying to figure out how to contextualize what I've learned here and how you can apply it in your life. Or my clients, I got to ask them, like, do you have access to farmers markets? Can you get organic food that's freshly picked that day out of this organic, nutrient-dense soil? Do you have fruits that are ripened up? Do you have a juicer? Can you get outside and go breathe the fresh air? Do you have a jungle or a forest or a grasslands? And you go to all these different places and you absorb the microbes from the grasslands. You touch the grass and you get all itchy. And that itchiness is actually microbes, that are inoculating your body and training the microbes inside of you and on you how to be in that environment. And mud, I go like lay in the mud and cover myself with slimy mud and just lay there for 5 or 10 minutes and just let all those microbes from that mud get all into my body. I eat dirty foods, that are coming right out of the different soils. And I'll go to the different farmers and I'll harvest, if I make a salad, I'll try to really get that diversity of soils by procuring the ingredients for that salad from different farmers that are all at the top of the level. I have the secondary farmers, and then I have the farmers that are like the regenerative farmers, like the hippie white dudes that are like, have a small table like this, that I'm like, because when there's the smaller the table, the more work they're putting into the soil. Instead of monocropping, they're really working on smaller, more nutrient dense foods, and they're presenting it better because they take more time to clip it, pack it, and bring it to the market. And so I get that diversity of soils, and the soil microbes are on the plant foods. And, I really feel like the microbes that are in the soil, that when it rains, it kind of splashes up and there's a little trickles of like flecks of dirt, and I just leave those. Now, if there's big chunks of mud or something, of course I'd knock those off or wash those off. But I like to leave the little flecks of dirt. And if you don't cook your vegetables and herbs and fruits, then you'll have all the living microbes on those foods. That's one of the main reasons why live foods, fresh raw foods, is ideal, because the microbes that are on those plants. See, because this is something I've wanted to share for a while. I tried in the video I did with Christina, but it's like, I could talk for hours and hours and hours, blah, blah, blah. The plants emanate a frequency and they attract the microbes from that environment. And the microbes in the plant have a synergistic relationship. The microbes benefit the plant benefits the microbes. You take those plants or fruits, because a lot of the fruits you eat, you get the microbes on your hand, you peel that fruit, and then you get the microbes in your mouth. The orange is emanating a frequency, it's attracting microbes to the outside of that shell. And then you get the microbes on your fingers and while you're eating the fruit. And so it's really about where you're getting your microbes. Or are you taking pesticides in your food? Are you getting food that's processed, excessively rinsed even? And there's a real nuance to that too, because you want to make sure, like, if it's really healthy soil, then you want to get it. But if it's questionable soil, which makes for questionable food, then you probably do want to rinse it. And that's where I basically, I had a consultation today, and I just said, you know what? He's like, I need to help my kids and my wife because their guts are all messed up. Excuse me. And I was just like, finally, it's just like, you're gonna have to grow your own food. Everyone's just gonna have to grow their own food. It doesn't have to be all of your food, but it can be some of your food. And you make the soil. You read a couple books on soil microbiology. In a month, you'll have a very broad understanding. Watch a few videos on soil microbiology, how to build the soil, how to bring in the mycelium and the microorganisms and the earthworms, and how to make sure that there's plenty of oxygen in the soil so that it can really root in. And then you bring in the amendments, and you've got some good soil, even if it's just a couple of planter boxes in your backyard, or even if it's just pots like this. You go down to the nursery, the local nursery, and be like, hey, where's all your throwaway pots for free? They get these trees and stuff, and then they transplant them into bigger ones. And then they've got these kind of, maybe they're broken down or discolored, and you can usually get them for free or dirt cheap. And then you could just grow vegetables. And I got a bunch from our nursery over here. I've been doing these experiments with soil, and the food is just amazing. The soil is so rich. It's like 2 feet deep. And these buckets I got for free, these planter pots, are like, there's the free pile. I'm like, eureka, they're not beautiful, but they're free. And then I just got the soil, and I took all the amendments, and I made this incredible soil, and I planted the seeds. And when you go to plant your seeds, you put the seeds in your mouth a little bit, and you soak them around in your own saliva, and then you plant them, and then you actually transmit your DNA and your genetic material into the seed, and the seed and nature and God know what to do with that seed to produce food that's going to benefit you individually and your family. So get the family involved as well. Also, a little bit of your urine. I'm not saying pee on your plants every day, but before you go to, like maybe even right after you plant the seeds, you just pee a little bit. You don't do it over and over and over again. It's just once, and that's it. And then you also have an exchange of your genetic material with the microorganisms in the soil and the rhizosphere with the plants. And then there's this whole level of awareness that is very subtle, but when the all-seeing eye is awakened from the live foods and the fasting, you can see these things, and it's absolutely amazing. It gives you a distinct advantage in life, a very distinct advantage. I mean, I was blown away by how blessed I am today, just because I'm working with so many people and what I've done with my own life, which I deserve. I created this, and you have to create yours too. And all I do is wish you 100% wellness and 100% the creation, because I love simplicity and I don't do drama. You know what I'm saying? And I got a comment on the Instagram, oh, you're not that spiritual because you're out hiding out. I'm not hiding out. I'm serving everyone, everywhere I go, I'm helping people. In my real life, I haven't been on the internet helping people much, but I have consults every day. I've got yoga. I feed everyone juice over there. I help my girlfriend. I've got clients here for retreats. I've been really busy lately. And I have a whole community of people, and I play music, and I just do a lot of stuff. And I know there's a point to all that, but here's my philosophy at this time. The most important thing that I can do is make this one the best that it can be. The happiest, healthiest, cleanest, purest, clearest, brightest, most joyful, radiant, blessed servant. Just do the best with this one right here. I'm not trying to fix the world. I'm just not. That's a real mighty task. And for me, the best way to do that is to purify my own heart and to be kind to everyone I meet and to help anyone I can whenever I can. And that obviously has to be within reason. You have to get a good night's sleep if you want to stay balanced. And, you got to take care of yourself. So it's a real balancing act, and you got to know what you need to thrive. And everyone is individual. I need to get to bed early. I like that. So I could do all these musical gigs with these guys and stuff. And I love it. But the thing is I just have to be in bed because I have to wake up at 4:30. Because I like to wake up at 4:30 and pray for a half an hour. And I just call it prayers of gratitude. And I just thank you, God, for this. Thank you, God, for the bed. Thank you, God, for the pillow. Thank you, God, for the hard-on. Thank you, God, for my daughters. Thank you, God, for the juicer. Thank you, God, for YouTube. Thank you, God, for Ricky. Thank you, God, for Lou. Thank you, God, for my phone. Thank you, God, for my jars. Just anything I can think of to be thankful for. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And that's my main mantra right there. Thank you, God. Thank you, God. Thank you, God. Thank you, God. That's just what I call it. That's what I do. I don't want to force my semantics onto you. I mean, you don't even have to call it that because I know the word God has gotten a pretty bad rap, because it's just like it's some dude up there who forgot to take his medication. Now he wants to burn everybody up. But God is love. It's like you don't make a lot of sense. God is love and God is light. And all the anger and hatred and fear and pain, that's God too, but that's just us. We're doing it to ourselves, God is just sitting there. It's pure consciousness. And it's such a gift to have that. And it collapses itself down into these infinite layers. And here we are, this heavy blob of flesh. But what truly animates this and what truly, what am I, You're beyond words. You're beyond reason. You're beyond the intellect. And yet here we are having a cool conversation. It's a little one-sided at this point, but I feel you. And I know that, anyways, this is just me. And that's what I've been really working on embracing for the last 6 months that I've been off the internet. Plus, I've been going through it with those tonics, man. They stir you up and they'll make you kind of retarded for a week or two afterwards. And I just had one round, and then I had the guy make them stronger. And now he's playing with me, and he's like, well, let's see how strong we can make it, Let's see how strong we can make it. He's trying to get it to where, just strong as strong can be. And I go through it, and then I got to flush a lot, but I've just been making so much progress. I've eliminated so much aluminum and fluoride from this part of my brain and here, so the circulation has increased dramatically. And then what happened is it actually, it loosened up from this area and all up and through here, and then it kind of ended up back here on my occipital ridge. And then for for a couple months there, the circulation to my brain was really inhibited. So my body was just like from the live foods, but the blood flow was blocked because the deposits or the residuals or the acid crystals kind of coagulated on my occipital ridge right near the areas of the blood flow in the brain. And then I got some more body work back here to break up that blockage and did another round of the tonics. So I was doing the tonics and then got more of the body work up here on this occipital ridge and just broke this all loose. And then now it's kind of settled in my back. So it's just constant process of the tonics, then the body work, and just moving it and trying to get it to come out the urine and out the sweat and out the feces. But it mostly comes out the urine because you need to break up these acid crystals, with the tonics, and it's a mixture of minerals and clays and herbs, and it dissolves the very solid acid crystals. And I was day 40 on a water fast, and I was just like, wow, everything, not everything, the liver was still working, the kidneys were magnificent after a 40-day water fast. The liver was still dumping though, and that's what people don't understand. They're like, why are you detoxing so much? Oh, I can't do this, and you bring up all my problems. And I'm just like, I did a 40-day water fast and my liver still never got completely clean. So take from it what you will, but I knew what I was taking. I've been working on my liver ever since, and I'm not done with my fasting game, ladies and gentlemen. I got plans for my life. I got a high vision for my life, the most high vision. And may God's grace come upon me that I might only be a blessing to others through that, but just to feel the presence, because the system and the apparatus is waking up, and we're working on the heart, really working on purifying the heart, opening it up and living in the heart, and regenerating the brain, because I got vaccinated and I ain't never been right since, and a lot of people do not understand that. You know what I'm saying? But for me, you come near me with a needle, only one of us is walking away, because ain't nobody putting a needle in my arm. And I don't even want to get into it because it's such a dramatic thing, because people have been brainwashed to the hilt. How you can think that that is a good thing? I mean, you're just not, all 8 cylinders are not pumping. I'll tell you that right now. Okay? So, yeah, I've seen way too much damage, man. But it's a sad thing. But you know what? If it wasn't for that, I wouldn't be who I am. If it wasn't for the vaccine damage, which was the underlying, cause of the ADD, which was then, the childhood prescriptions, and then that leads to, using the recreational drugs, and then I just, so it's been like a long road back, my friend. You know what I'm saying? But I love it. I love the journey. I'm strong as a bull moose in heat. You know what I'm saying? I'm just strong. I've built up my gut. I've been building up my heart. And I'm just doing everything I can to make this thing up here the best that it can be, as clean and clear and bright. And I'm really working on purity of thoughts. I mean, it's interesting when you go to start purifying your heart, what actually happened, or not your heart, but your head, how much debris is up there and how much junk you got to get rid of. You know what I'm saying? And to purify your thoughts when it comes to members of the opposite sex, or when it comes to watching your speech about what you say about other people. So even if someone talks bad about you or rips you off, you got to make sure you don't talk bad about nobody. You can only be here to love and put people up. That's what this dude's here to do, is to be goodness, kindness. And Jesus is a real big influence in my life. So instead of trying to go around and proselytize people and tell them they're going to hell and I'm going to heaven because of what they believe. I actually just try to do my best to follow the teachings of Jesus and leave it at that. I'm not here to convince anyone of anything. I'm here to do the work myself, because that is how I am invigorated. And I know all the words and all the debates, all the debating and the theology, it's like a big pile of poop on the floor. And people want to get me involved, and I'm like, that's poop. I'm not going to waste my time with stinky poop. I'm not going to argue. I'm not going to debate. I'm going to continue to love God. I'm going to continue to purify my mind. I'm going to continue to study the works, the scriptures, the yoga. It's all there, man. I love Lao Tzu. I love Buddhism. And people say you're confused, and I will tell you, I am not confused. I am clear. I am bright. And I take all of that goodness from all of those religions. And you want to know something? To me, they're all saying the exact same things. They're just saying it to different cultural groups at different times, using different words. But the message is all the same. And all I can say is that I have seen the light. And I see the light. And I have had some incredible experiences in the last year. Ever since the water fast, my cap got blown. And I have just been stoked out of my mind. And all I see is light. And that's what I live for. The light and the love of God. And I don't even really know what that means. I'm not trying to convince you of anything. I'm not trying to impress you. I am doing this for myself. If you resonate with it and you can dig it, then may God bless you all the way to the final beatitude. And may the grace of God pour down upon you and fill you with light and knowledge and peace. That's all I wish for you. And if there's any way I could say anything by being myself, my honest self, I cannot. I did for 6 months, trying to make hundreds of videos, censoring myself, saying, oh, the Christians, oh, the vegans, oh, the carnivores. I don't resonate with any of it, because I just ate a big old handful of bee pollen right before this, because that's my favorite source of 9 essential amino acids. Can you dig it? And honey is also a very good food. And I don't have anything against anyone that eats animal products anyways, because pretty much everyone I know does that. I wouldn't have any friends. I'd be sitting here in this chair by myself, which I do anyways. But then when I go out, my friends, I have carnivore friends, omnivore friends, pescatarian friends, vegan friends, and I love them all. So I'm not going to, what am I supposed to do? Hate my daughter because she's addicted to cheese, and scream at her every time? She knows. But cheese, man, it's god dang cheese. It's soft. It's got all the casomorphines in it. Take some cheese. You're like, oh, I guess my problems aren't that bad. I ain't going to get down on nobody. I've been addicted to everything, man. I'm not going to get down on nobody for nothing. I got to get my butt outside. It is a nice day. And I'm going to hop on the bike and just put a few miles on before I come back here for a little bit of research on the internet every night is what I get to do. And I spend about an hour or two just researching. I'm going to kind of research some of the stuff that I learned about today from one of my clients, in trying to help him with his daughters and his wife. Although I already know the answers, in an hour and a half, it's hard to really give everyone everything they need to understand the regeneration of the microbiome, the detoxification of mercury and aluminum from the brain. But, we got a pretty good start today. I definitely went way over the time just because sometimes I do that. I really do try to stick to, 1 hour consult, because my time is incredibly valuable to myself, but I also really do want to make sure I help people and they get what they need, at least for this round. Then I recommend, some people it's just one consult, and it's like, boom, one consult, and then we figure out what it was. It's hardly ever about the food, really, to tell you the truth. It's about the unresolved traumas. And I always get to that. They're like, well, what should I eat? And I'm like, well, let's talk about what really matters. Why are you eating so bad in the first place? To cover over the pow, everyone's got this down here, kicked in the head, molested, put down, the traumas, And so we're just working on, like, what are those? Can we bring a light to that and bring some attention to that? Can we start really looking at this? Are you willing, And I find out where they are, and every single person's at a completely different level. And if it takes a little extra time to make sure they get it, then I take that. But for the most part, I try to just do the 1 hour, and then about 1/4 of the people, not even that, maybe 1/6. I recommend. We should do another one in a few weeks or something like that, because it's not really a money maker for me. Obviously I get paid well for the consults, but it's not like it's something that I absolutely need. So it's more of a, when someone pays me, I know that they're ready to change. Otherwise, if you don't put no money on the table, you probably wasted my time. And that's after doing thousands and thousands of free consults over the years, And so I found out now that I've been getting paid $234 per consult, every single person is listening. They got their notes, and they are ready to get upgraded for their own personal protocol. And I ain't wasting my time. Can you dig it? You know what I'm saying? So I really do enjoy those. It's been one of the more satisfying aspects of my life to have people that are really ready, really ripe. Like, yo, DTM, what do I do? I'm, 100 pounds. Okay. Bop, 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 bop. Ask a bunch of questions. Get to the root of things. Always get to the root, because then if you get to the root and you get all that out, you can be healthy. You can be healthy in this world that is promoting sickness. But you got to go against all the cultural norms. And if everyone looks at you, why aren't you drinking beer? Why aren't you eating pizza? Why don't you drink milk? Why don't you have some cookies? Because I don't eat any of that crap. I don't eat white sugar. I don't drink alcohol. I don't want to do drugs. You know what I'm saying? I'm not putting anyone down. I'm just saying, like, I'm happy to let go of all that so that I can live in divine communion. You know what I'm saying? And it isn't like I don't miss certain things either. You know what I'm saying? But it's just that I choose clarity. You know what I'm saying? I choose clarity. And I really like it. I'm not saying I'm a saint either. But I just really love to keep going with the clarity and the purity. That's why I got to be very careful who I hang around. Or if I'm hanging around different groups of people, that it's just more minimal, because I don't want to get too affected by other people. Not everyone's living at my level. That's why I do spend most of my time alone, because I got my head in these yogi books. I got my mind in the clouds during meditation. I go to yoga class. I go to the beach. I pray. I go to nature, and I just do my absolute very best to stay in a state of communion and remember all the time the eternal nature. That this body, this life, it's temporary, and that I should use this body, and really try to use these hands, this heart, this mind, this mouth as tools to let thy will be done, to really let the highest of the Most High come through. Do I always do that? I don't know. I'm not going to judge, and I'm not trying to convince you that I'm some holier than thou or anything like that. I'm just doing my best, because that's all I want to do, because I see and feel the presence of the Lord, and I just want to be a servant of God, and whatever that looks like. And here I am, here living in paradise, eating fruits and vegetables, and fasting, and mostly living off juice, to tell you the truth. I really just live off liquids, and most of them this is coconut based. Coconut, pineapple, and then Sadhguru told me to put ash gourd in my juices for extra alkalinity, and then cilantro, mint, and lime. And so it's mostly coconut water. So when you see all those coconuts in the back of my truck, that is for everybody. My girlfriend, her clients, my clients, my friends at the yoga. I trade juice for massages. I mean, I'm just like, if you got a juice scale, you might as well use it. You know what I'm saying? And I'll make some juice videos and other stuff. But I just wanted to catch up. This video actually went really well for me. I really want to thank Spencer. I don't think he made it this far into the video, but maybe he did. He'll watch my 30-second ones. I don't know if he watches any of mine. I watch his every once in a while, but we had a talk today, and he's a total carnivore, and it doesn't even register with me. We talk, and we both I realized we both kind of struggle with the same thing, and then just that talk today really helped me. And then your positive feedback on the little video, the 60-second video, was just like, hey, I know you guys really care for me, and I really care for you, and believe me when I tell you, I miss you like crazy. But the internet is kind of like insane. Sometimes it seems so artificial. I'm not into the negativity. I'm not into the Jerry Springer. I'm also not into being called names and skinny and ugly and all that other stuff that, I'm still sensitive to that, no matter how hard I try. And my main spiritual practice is to bear insult and to bear injury and to press ahead and love anyways. But, I'm very human person, very sensitive human person. And so the internet can be kind of brutal, and being a content creator and sharing in this way intimately where anyone can, they just knock you down, for who you are. This is the real me. This is about as real, I think, as I've ever been. Like, I'm not even really in the life regenerator mode. I'm talking a little loud, and normally I would, if you were here as a person, we'd be like, hey, yeah, okay, cool, it'd be a little bit quieter. But, when the camera's on, that's one thing I learned from the very beginning. Scream into the goddamn thing to get your point across so that nobody misses any words and everyone can hear every word that's coming out of my mouth. And I really like that. And that's how my music is too. I make sure that you can hear every word, because I think the words are important, and I want people to hear the words, and I want this to sink into you in some way or another. Because really, if it wasn't for my friends telling me and giving me feedback like, Dan, you are a really good person. I can feel your intention. I can see your purity. You're intentional to be pure. I mean, like I said, I never want to be, you don't make mistakes or whatever, or you're perfect. No, I'm just saying that I am burning with a fire in my heart to be the best and do the best that I can do within what that means to me, and that's just kindness, gentleness, divine understanding, love, service, and purity, and believe me, I have a lifetime to go, but I have to have faith. I have to have faith that I will reach the final beatitude in this life, and I intend to just serve, and I want to talk about these things more, because that's what blesses me, is talking to you like this to remind myself. That's what helped me with the diet, was teaching the diet. This is what's going to help me with purity, is teaching purity and doing my best to live up to it. I'm that kind of way. I have pretty good integrity, I ain't perfect in any way, except the perfection is within all of us. And if we can surrender into that perfection and into that divine intelligence, that's how we get healthy. That's how our life becomes beautiful, magnificent ecstasy and joy and happiness and abundance and fluidity and simplicity. And we just get rid of all the stress crap, because the divine within you isn't going to magnetize more stress and more crap. That's going to be the ego. That's going to be the conditioning, emanating these frequencies out into the universe and attracting them right back to you. And when you eliminate that stuff within yourself, like, I'm going to live a simple life. I'm going to be simple. I have the most simple, plain, basic, boring life. That's one of the other reasons why I don't make videos. My life is so boring to the average person compared to how exciting it is out there on the internet. I don't do anything. I don't want anything. I mean, yes, I walk along the beach. I harvest coconuts. I go to yoga every day. I have a great community there. I love those people. I have an awesome girlfriend who works her butt off. She's a master tattoo artist who does these incredible artwork, you know. And then this thing here, this is devotion. So I just have that blasting me in the back of the head. I've got key codes there, the key codes here. Bam. You know, these are just pow. This is the this is the key code of expansion. Pow. This is the key code of purification. Man, I need to put that right there. Word. I'm going to do that. I'm going to put that one in there. This is the key code of acceptance. Word. And this is the key code of regeneration. I need to put that right there. I need to just be blasting myself because it emanates, you know. And so she puts these types of tattoos on people on their chest. She's doing a girl right now, and then I'm helping her with the food. So I've been just running around like a chicken with my head cut off. But I go up there and, yeah, detoxifying the heck out of her. Once I found out she had thyroid cancer, and then they blasted her with radiation and stuff. But within just 1 week, she's just being reborn. I put her on juices, enzymes, raw foods, sunlight therapy, and I built a colonic machine over at Nia's house. So she's had a couple of colonics, and she's just like, oh my God. That stuff sits in there for a long time with the average person eating all that cooked food and stuff. It doesn't move through as well as like oranges and bananas and avocados, and that type of stuff moves through pretty well with the fiber and stuff intact. So anyway, she's totally coming back to life, and so that's just what I do, and I'm just loving it. I help everyone at the yoga to stay hydrated because it's hot yoga, and I just have maca leha water or green juices at the end, and I sell them for $10, you know, and I give the yoga teachers, and then I give coconuts away and stuff, you know. I go to maca leha, and I harvest spring water. I live a divine life, and it's a life of service, and it's a life of love. And right here on this meditation chair is my favorite place to be, because this is where I just sit still and do nothing, and that's where my life has changed so much. You know, I'm talking a mile a minute just because I'm a chatty Cathy. I'm good at it. Look at this, 52 minutes and the guy's still rapping. But it's because I care about you so much. And one part of me knows that you love this and you're picking up on this, and that's a great honor to me. You know, I'm just a regular old dude, but I have good intentions, and I've got great experience and lots of useful knowledge and experience, you know. And I made an Instagram post yesterday, you know, what you do know is far outweighed by what you don't know. And so that should humble you, you know, and it really has humbled me. You know, the whole diet wars thing is ridiculous, you know, because I don't think anybody's right. I think that we are miraculously able to adapt to a host of conditions. And we could go into that some other time. I definitely want to talk about what I think about the various stratospheres of the different food groups and their effect on consciousness. Right now, I'm just living on liquids, man, for the most part. And, you know, I feel really, really well. And I think that is enough for now. I want to thank you for your time, your attention. I feel really good about this video. I didn't judge myself as much today as I have the last 500 videos that I've made literally in the last 6 months. I'll do anywhere from 1 to 15, 20 videos in a day, ranging from 5 minutes to 20 minutes long, and I'll spend 3 hours trying to make a video, and then I just won't post it. And then I kind of gave up for a while, and I said, you know what? Maybe God doesn't want me on YouTube anymore, you know? And whatever has happened today to make this video a little bit different, it's not any different than anything I said before. It was just the way that I was with myself. And I know that it was your positive feedback underneath the videos that were like, give the crackheads some of your time. And I did that today, so I hope you're satisfied, man. And I will be happy to do it again if you will take the time to watch. I'll share with you just like this. This is my favorite thing. Me not selling anything, you know. I just had to, and that was that, and we'll let that go. But I mean, I'm going to sell stuff in the future. I have to, you know. I don't have to, but you know, you want to, you know, it's good. Yeah, it's my job, and I've had to do a lot of other stuff, and it'd be cool to go back to YouTube full time, and then to use a couple of things that I was using before to support the ministry, you know, on the YouTube, because the Google AdSense is, you know, it's not really enough to make a living. So the affiliate programs were really supportive of the YouTube show, and that allowed me to keep going. And you know, I'd like to be able to, if it's possible, and if it's, you know, if it's the will of the one, then I would love to get back into YouTube full time, you know. So let's see how that goes. Y'all can just say a positive word, or send up a prayer for me, and I'm sending up a prayer for you, for your wellness, your happiness, your peace, and the ability to just witness the ups and downs in life, to still love yourself even if you're having a bad day, you know, to really accept life as it is, you know. You know, it's just, it's the paradox is that we're living and dying at the same time, you know, because of this meat suit. So my ultimate message is to you and to myself is to remember the eternal within us. Let's embrace the unifying factor, and that is the eternal light within all of us that connects us and makes us one.